Upton Sinclair. You know that name? He wrote his famous book is on this Calgary stockyards. He was a socialist. And in the 30s, during the Depression, he ran for governor of California on something maybe called the EPIC program. I don't know what that stands for, if that was the word even. But he had a very good chance of winning there. His program was minimum basic salary, or not salary, income to everybody. And that alone would have been enough to get him elected. But he needed the Democrat to get on the Democratic ticket. And he was going to get on until Roosevelt interfered and told the Democrats that they couldn't put him on the ticket. And the Democrat got on the ticket, and he. Now, if Upton Sinclair had won in California, I'm sure this would have been adopted in a lot of other states, and it's still being called for now, like some minimum income that people would have, even if they work today. They don't, sometimes they have to get welfare because they're working for below the poverty minimum even. So he did put the Depression, the last. Although all the work programs, all the welfare, that was fine. That should have been done too. You don't try to make things worse so things will get better. India proved that things can get terrible and you can end up with, or I think it's partly proved all over the world in any country you want. When things get worse, people don't necessarily become socialists. They become maniacs, and they become insane out of their mind and blame other groups for their problems besides the system, which is really their problem.
What was it like in college for you?
College,
were you involved
Brooklyn
in
College,
politics?
yeah, Brooklyn College was a commie college, let's face it, at that time. And they were investigated by the rap coup d'etat in New York State, and a lot of my best teachers lost their jobs because some of them refused to sign the anti-communist, or admit that they were communist party members, and for other reasons. And it really, I think Gideon's was the president then, and it was wartime. And the slogan to get rid of all or most of the socialists, or people would keep their mouths shut. They had to have a job. So that's what it was then, and it was in the entertainment industry. It was in the movies, and it was a bad time for people who opposed capitalism. Just like now.
Were you involved in music or poetry or
performing
in college?
There's one thing I want to go back to in my high school. At the age of 13, I was picked to go with one other kid from my school to a high school for smart kids, right? 3 years. And it's what's called Townsend Harris High School. Now it was shut for a while, but now it exists in Queens. So at this school, it was at where Baruch College is now, on 23rd Street, at the CUNY, or part of it. And most of the other people who went there went at night, So they hated us because we were the privileged kids. We were going to be their bosses, I guess, what they thought, or whatever. But while I was there, the Communist Party decided it would be a good idea to organize high school students. So at the age of 13, I joined something called maybe the National Student League or something like that. I don't remember. But I became a cum simp. I didn't know that they were communists, so I wouldn't have cared. I didn't know communists were bad. As bad as some of them really were. Not the Americans that much, but the ones in Russia. So because a lot of the Americans didn't believe all the lies that were printed about the Soviet Union in American papers. Only some of those lies were true, and they were true lies. So, for instance, the New York Times reported over 20 times in the 1920s that the communist government had been overthrown. Over 20 times they reported that. So anyway, I joined this communist youth organization, and although they didn't call themselves communists, which is smart. And the main event that I remember was we went to Gramercy Park, you know Gramercy Park, which is a private park, and paid no taxes. So that was our bone of contention. We wanted them to either be opened up to the public, which we really wanted, or to pay taxes. Finally, not too long ago, they were forced to pay taxes. But we all went down there, and some of us, not me, I'm a coward, climbed over the fence and just went in there. I don't know, the cops came, but I guess no one was busted. They just were thrown out. I remember that event, which made a lot of sense for young people to take part in. It was a good thing to do. And at Brooklyn College, there was also, or in the high school, I guess by then it was called the American Students Union. And this was the time of the Spanish Civil War, 36, 39. At my high school. I later transferred from that school. It gave me migraine headaches. And one other story there I have to tell. The math teacher there was named Dr. Sentner. So I don't know, he had a doctor and he was teaching in a high school, so maybe he felt, but it was a depression, maybe he felt a little. Anyway, Sentner, I think, Senef is mustard, so maybe his name meant mustard man, but he was a real mustard man. So what did we do? I did this algebra problem, and they called us master, And I sat down and he looked at it and he said, Master Kupferberg, 2 zeros. Not only did I get the algebra problem wrong, but I hadn't followed the form of where you put your name on and put the example and do this. So I said, holy shit, I'm going to a place where you can get 2 zeros for one thing. I'm not in the right place. Not in the right place. I went to New Utrecht, which was also a hotbed of communism at the time. And a lot of Jews were there and some Italians. And,
how about the Hebrew school story and the bar mitzvah story?
Oh yeah, all right. The bar mitzvah story. Dun, 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 no. Da 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 dee da 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 dee da da dee da dum. Okay, so we were a small. We were Jewish merchants on First Avenue, and merchants didn't do too well then. But we were also close to the Upper East Side with incredible wealth. For instance, Temple Emmanuel. Have you ever been there?
I know of it.
You should go in sometime. It's a huge. It's German and it's Reform. German Jews. All the. What did I tell you that joke? Oh, the joke I like about Temple Emmanuel. It's the high holidays. The president of the temple, it's called, gets up and says, "Oh Lord, I have a doctorate from Columbia. I got my rabbinate degree in the Jewish Theological Seminary. I have a master's in English, and I've studied law at Yale University and Columbia too. But before you, oh Lord, I am as nothing." And then the president of the temple gets up and says, "Oh Lord, I am the president of Kuhn Low. I own properties in 5 states. I have a house in Bermuda. I'm about to be chosen in 20 years from now in the World Bank, to the World Bank. But before you, there's nothing." And then the janitor gets up and he says, "Oh Lord, I am the janitor and the most respected and the most remarkable and the most elitist and precious synagogue and temple in this entire state, maybe even the country, maybe even the world. But before you, I am as nothing. The president pokes the chief rabbi, and he says, look who thinks he's a nothing. So, all right,
Did this
so
have
there-
any bearing on your fabulous masterpiece song, Nothing?
What?
Did this joke have any bearing on your song, Nothing?
I doubt it.
Did you
But
know?
I just thought of another song about nothing that I want to sing right now. And it goes back to the 40s, maybe. It goes, you're nothing but a nothing, a good for nothing, nothing. At least if you were something, you're not a thing at all. I don't know, it gets worse after that, but it was sort of a great song. So,
You never got bar mitzvahed.
oh yeah, I never got bar mitzvah. So, I belonged to a Boy Scout club that met at that temple, and the what would you call it? The house that was the deacon's house. No, to the main temple, parish house, I guess you'd call it. Her name was. It was like a mansion in itself, and I was sort of impressed and overwhelmed by all the wealth around me. And the other kids in the troop all lived on Park Avenue and so on. So, but I went to another synagogue, which was maybe conservative or more like had a lot of the poor merchants there, and I went there for my Hebrew lessons before. Were you bar mitzvah?
No.
That's okay. My kids don't want bar mitzvah either. So, and the Hebrew teacher was the sister of the rabbi, and she didn't have any teeth, and I thought that she had 2 teeth. I thought that was terrible, but now I'm sort of I really understand that now. So anyway. The summer before, we used to go to the Catskills in a Kuchelan, cook for yourself. This place you could find, you rent a room and you cook all your own meals. It was not the hotel. So, oh yeah, and it was such a cheap place that there was a railroad running about 10 yards from the house on a little elevation. So that was exciting to the kids, but, you know, it was close, not a desirable real estate. And there was a catalpa tree there, you know, the catalpa tree with those long pods, and an awning there, and a hammock. I used to sit there, and my sister's girlfriend had given, I was less than 13, I guess, had given me a copy of Modern Library's Origin of Species by Darwin. So I read that, and I became a confirmed atheist, I think. Or my family was always a little anti-religious. You know, they'd broken away from their parents because in America you lead a freer life and so on. So I was ready for that. So the only reason I went to, they sent me to do the bar mitzvah thing was for the sake of the grandparent, you know. We used to go to shul, to synagogue on holidays, and pretend to observe the dietary laws. So anyway, I'm in this class preparing for my bar mitzvah, and the teacher is telling us about how the Jews crossed the Red Sea from, she asks, how did the Jews cross the Red Sea into Israel from Egypt? And I raised my hand and I said, maybe it was a very dry summer and there was no water there and they just walked across. Maybe there was a drought and they just walked across. So she came over and slapped me in the face when I said that. And I never went back, and I was never bar mitzvah. Somehow we lied about it so much. Did I tell you that story, right? It's one of my faves. So, where are we now?
So you're in college, and what years were you in Brooklyn College? This was in the 40s or in the 50s?
Maybe, should we go through college?
How about the war? How did that affect you?
Oh, the war, yeah. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Let's end with college. All right, I'll tell you about college. At college, I told you there were... Well, then the war came out. By then I was around in the college there were various radicals. We were all radicals, but there were communists. There was a communist table, a Trotskyist table, and a sort of a non-committed table. And I was sort of non-committed in between all of these. And later I almost joined the Trotskyists, but I had written that story about a working class kid in the war, and someone had read it and they wanted to enlist me because I was so smart and wonderful. So I almost joined, but I realized before I signed up that I'd have to obey this particular program there, and I didn't like to obey any particular program, even then. So, all right, so I'm there, and we all knew that this was an imperialist war, and why should we go? I didn't realize that there was a possibility of COs, and nobody told me. So I kept delaying it, and they had something that was really a scheme to keep the colleges going financially. They called it, I forgot what they called it. But if you joined that, you continue in school for a long time, and supposedly you would be training in special areas that they needed, like navigation and radio and medicine, of course. But anyway, I never joined one of those until I finally got my call to go down to be examined and have a physical, because I was going to go and get killed. I said, shit, I should have joined that, because now I'm going to go straight into the infantry and get killed. So, but it had closed then. I said, oh shit. So I went down, and they gave you this form to fill out. At first I thought it was psychologically smart, but no, it was just stupid. Your insurance form. If you die, there's $10,000. You fill this out before you even go in for your physical, before you're in the army. So I put down the names of 10 of my friends. So the psychiatrist looks this over, and he says, you didn't put down any of your relatives, of your parents and so on. I said, well, I hate my parents. So he took it from there. So he was a nice Jewish boy, but if this had happened in Texas, I would have been in the army in 5 minutes. So then he started to me and he said, what do you think of the war? So I realized, wow, I had a chance of getting out. So I realized also that if I said I opposed the war, he might say that you have to say. So I sort of hemmed and hawed, and then he gave me a 4F anyway, which meant not suitable, not fit because of either physical or psychological reason. And then I read as I was going out, I read what he had written, and it said has ambiguous, that is an exact word, but something...
Ambivalent?
No, not ambivalent.
No,
He meant nebulous. There's another word about the war. About the war. Sort of undecided ideas about the war. So, but that was a lie. I had a definite idea about it. Well, now, what is that word? It's not
Yeah, we
ambiguous.
found it and then we lost it
It's
again.
not
I remember.
ambivalent. It's
Not ambiguous, not has
not nebulous.
ambient. No,
Let's see. Let's get the,
no.
this is where,
Should I turn off the?
Yeah.
You want to turn off the?
yeah, I have to get the
All right, we're going to pause for a
the
second.
thesaurus. I mean, the,
All right.
to,
Okay, I'm recording again. Okay.
all right, let me just, all right, I'll read this poem after I finish. I'm going to say, I found the word, it's abstruse, has abstruse. All right, and then we'll end this segment. So stop it after that, okay?
Okay.
Are we ready?
Right.
Are we going?
Yeah.
I found the word he said he had written has abstruse theories about the war. Abstruse my ass. I was just trying not to get someone angry enough to put me in the army because I opposed the war. Okay. That's it for this segment.
Cut.
Yeah, cut.
Okay.
No, we always would be making up sort of obscene lyrics to, I don't want to sound. In my first collection called Snow Job, which was published the book was published in 1959 by my own press. And I don't know if it appeared anyplace else, but maybe in, I published poems in the Jewish Frontier one time. So this is a song of the Yeshiva Bocha, and that's a student at the religious college, and Bes Medrash is the house of study, and the Gemara is a commentary in the Talmud. Song of the Yeshiva Bocha. He carries a stone in his heart, and on his back the blossoming Gemara. Love of love I know, but love I know not. Who has lit the candles in the old Bes Medrash? Don't they know that darkness lights the inner soul? Blow out the candle and look through spring's window above the stars. The inner light of God turns the longing sky. Love of love he knows, and now he seeks a shadow. Love. Two lights, the great one he made to rule the world's delight, the greater one to rule by day, the lesser one to love by night. But when night comes and clouds his heart, aloneness breeds and broods the dark. And when man stumbles on himself, blessed be the spark. Wisdom I have, but wisdom I have not. Ever in eternal wisdom have our fathers said who saw, do not leave the fortress of the Torah. Do not leave the garden of the law. Pain of pain I have, and pain I have. It is the garden of the Torah. Here the burning flowers grow, and who leaves to fetch them water? softly turneth into snow. It is the garden of the Torah, locked by a golden sigh. No one can go in or out, except through the silver sky. Love of love I have, and love
You said that's from 59.
yeah, well, it's,
And the other
it's earlier
collection
than 59.
is from
That's when it
58.
came out. Yeah, that's right. That stuff was I published this book too, and I published two other poets. This was in Snow Gel, the title.
You were doing this after you left college, I guess.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Where did you live after you left college?
Are we taping this?
Yeah. No?
No? All right. Well, all right.
Okay.
I'll tell you what happened. Let's stop here for now. Okay. All right.
Stop?
Yeah. Don't remember. I think I was I sort of felt the beats weren't political enough, but as a matter of fact, Ginsberg was the only one who was,
How about the Metro?
oh yeah, the Metro, met him at the Metro. Well, we'll talk about that some other
Okay,
time.
yeah.
You know, are you taping this?
Well, you told me I just got 2 minutes left on this tape. There's
Well, you don't have to fill it up just because you have 2 minutes left,
Well,
okay? Just take it off. all right?
Okay, bye.